But eventually they broke up, and he ended up marrying somebody else. And she had a good, very nice relationship with the,
Yeah, you can't really marry the mother-in-law.
no.
I mean, it doesn't work out so well.
No, but I just meant that the mother, she got along well with that particular young lady.
Why did that come to mind?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
No, because I was
I'm
thinking.
trying to figure out the connection of this to something else.
Question: how did you choose college? How did that process go when you were in high school?
Why don't you start taping this?
I am.
Oh, you're doing it now?
College? Well, a free college, Adam.
Did you tell them?
I mean,
No, this is
no, it
only one
doesn't-
party has to know.
Okay. No, but
That's
it isn't.
How did you choose
Who,
one?
who had it?
I get
College.
both of them.
What was the choice? The choice was that you go to college where you can get in and it's free.
So
No, but still, you had a choice between Brooklyn College and City
Well,
College.
why would I go to City College? I'd go to Brooklyn College. It was nearby. But I changed my major, which probably was not a smart idea. I was a
what
home-
was yeah?
I was a home eco major. And I decided, I don't think I want to work in a hospital or something like that.
Home economics?
Yeah.
And what would you do when you graduate with a
With
degree in home economics?
Dietitian. I mean, I had to survive chemistry, but that was,
So wait, why didn't you so you decided you didn't want to be a dietitian?
Yeah, but that.
Why not?
Most of the time, I think for the most part, at that time, most of the jobs were in hospitals for dietitians. And somehow or other, I didn't think I was going to work in a hospital, or volunteer, and I sort of changed my mind, which I think was a mistake in any event.
Why?
So I switched. Why? Because I think that would have been a better path. Because I really didn't do very much. I mean, I switched over to City College, and I lost about a semester.
Well, why did you have to switch colleges?
I thought I was being, trying to be efficient in the business. I don't quite know.
You majored in business?
Yeah, but which was ridiculous. But at any rate, so I have a Bachelor of Business Administration. But the best education I got was when I went to Brooklyn College, liberal arts. I was better off as a liberal arts major.
Can you get the brush?
I thought the attitude of the students at City College downtown was not too good.
You mean like Dad's attitude?
I don't know about his attitude, but a lot of people, they were there so that they can get an education to get a job. I mean, they weren't too interested in learning, So,
How did you know that?
Well, City College was a big,
the people you
City
talk
big-
to.
City College downtown was a big accounting major. That was the heavy major.
Yeah, but, I said I wouldn't send my kid to a business school. I mean, I wouldn't pay for that. No.
Yes,
They
you
can
didn't pay
take
for
4
that.
years of Latin, and I wouldn't care to get, you don't go to get a job. You get an education. So I had a better education when I was at Brooklyn College. History, English, then I had biology, chemistry, stuff like that. And stupid home economics courses, that was garbage.
How did you find your first job?
Oh, that was not too good. First job at all?
First job. What was your first job?
I think maybe I worked in a cleaning store. You just try to get a job to earn some money,
How
Then-
old were you?
Must have been over 16 or 17 or 18. But then I got sick.
Like a dry cleaning store?
Yeah, then I got sick.
Oh.
I couldn't get the job back. I mean, you try to get something that somebody's going to pay for.
Yeah.
But
And then what other jobs did you have?
I'm trying to remember. Not really. I mean, until I should not have taken that job. It was a one-person office. And it was selling certain things by cold calls on the phone.
What kind of things?
I don't know. I can't
Steak
remember.
knives?
No, it was more, it was, I mean, this guy was good at selling,
Mm-hmm.
but that wasn't, you know, I'm not a salesperson,
Yeah.
so that wouldn't be for me.
And what about your next job?
Then I think I went to Fairchild Publications.
But how'd you get that job?
Must have been through an ad in the paper. I mean, I
What was-
already had my bachelor's degree. I had
Right.
a BBA.
And what was the job exactly?
I was first hired to be a secretary to the assistant ad manager. And the funny thing there,
Who's that, Ethel Wolf?
Ethel Wolf, yeah. And the funny thing there is that, so then there was an opening. Instead of working for her, I ended up working for one of the salesmen. But the joke I mean, the interesting thing there is that one year I sort of bunked into your father at the Brooklyn Public Library.
She was wearing clunky shoes, I remember.
And it is if you know somebody from somewhere else, but you never spoke to them. Because I think I was in an advertising production class with him, and he had this double coat and his hood on, and he knew all the answers. But in any event, he started telling me a story about where he was working and about this.
Yeah, I was working there part-time.
He was working there part-time, and a whole story about this woman that if she weren't a woman, she would be head of the department or something like that. And then, I don't know, a year or two, whenever it was, a year or 2 years later, I come to Fairchild Publications, and he's doing something with tear sheets, so I recognize him. And it took me a long time to figure out that he was talking about the woman I was working for. He was astute enough to realize the dynamics in this company, which I really was oblivious to.
She was a short, kind of chunky lady, not really, you know, I mean, good looking, but not really.
No, dumpy looking, blonde, bleached blonde, but
Very savvy lady.
really a
So wait,
powerhouse.
when you bumped into Dad at the library, you were already working at Fairchild,
Yeah.
but didn't recognize that the story he
No.
was telling was about the woman that
No.
you worked with.
No, it so happens that I once met your father in. It was at a tennis. These tennis.
Green Acres.
Green Acres is a tennis place where young singles go, and I knew his. I was sort of friendly with one of his friends,
Uh-huh.
and so I think maybe I was introduced to him. I mean, but you know, it was never anything.
Yeah, you weren't attracted to him, I get
No,
it.
it was, you know, it was not didn't pay attention. But then when I was at Fairchild, you know, they sort of recognized each other. And then, so if I would pass by where he was working, which would be on a different floor, you know, having a chat. I remember one time he asked me where he should go, sort of near Sheepshead Bay or something like that. He was taking out
A date.
A
Yeah, I
date.
remember this story.
Yeah, so I told him,
Lundy's.
Lundy's.
Famous fish restaurant.
Yeah, because I like.
Even I know about it.
I like Lundy's. So at any rate, and he's, you know, his reaction after was, "It's a barn," you know, but it's a huge place.
So you didn't like her recommendation?
Who knows? Who remembers?
Yeah, but I remember, no, but they had good bluefish and blueberry pie. And it was
So
nice.
what was your first date?
Oh, he bought I think he had a Plymouth.
I had a Plymouth convertible with a tire on the outside and the back, you know, kind of
What
like
color was it?
blue.
Oh, I don't remember the color. But at any rate, so he asked if I would be interested in taking a ride in the Plymouth. Sure.
So where'd you go? Where did the ride
Who
go?
knows?
I don't remember.
How long was the date?
Who knows?
I can't remember. I don't know.
Did you
that's how-
kiss on the first date?
Pardon?
Did you kiss on the first date?
Unlikely. I don't recall. But that
That's
convertible.
not a crazy question.
That convertible. we
Knowing my
drove-
parents? Yes,
we-
it is.
We drove to Chicago. No, we drove to Chicago with that convertible,
Yeah, the top came off.
and the top came off.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to remember where we kept the convertible when we lived on Montgomery Street.
Did we have a car then?
Well, we had it to go to Chicago.
The Plymouth.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Montgomery Street was before Chicago.
Yeah.
Who remembers?
Oh, I would tell you one thing about living in that place. It was, I think there was a laundry machine downstairs. And I think I went to do some laundry. And there was a woman there, I don't know how long she'd been living in that building. And I thought, oh my God, I would not want to be living in that building for very long. It was a tiny apartment.
No, I know. Wasn't it you could reach the table
You go
to
over
the counter?
here, and that was the stove. And we had a
Had the table
green
made
sofa,
smaller.
a green sofa, and had buttons, I think, on the pillows. And, you know, we were asked, what size buttons do you want? Dime, nickel, or quarter size. You know, everything was small. You know, a 3-room apartment.
Does that include the bathroom?
Yeah, no. No, but I just thought it would be pathetic to live a long time
I think for
and
that
live
bedroom,
in that building.
I think I made the lamp that hangs over my bed while I lived in Montgomery Street.
I don't know.
What was your rent?
Had to be low. I think he made $75 a week or something like that.
And how much did you make?
I don't know. No, I don't remember.
I think I made $75 a week when I started.
Yes, I mean, I
So
don't
how much did Mom make?
I don't know.
know. But
Well, I worked at Fairchild. First, I was working in that air department, and the activity which I got by creating this brochure, which Adam says he once saw but can't find anymore.
It was an incredible brochure. It was
I
a
know, a scale.
Yeah,
threefold thing.
Threefold, you know,
Are
like
your afternoons heavier than
Yeah,
your
you-
mornings?
yeah, you
talked
take
about this last
Joy
week.
taped that last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I thought that was pretty impressive. I saw it
Well, where
It's-
did you see it, in Great Neck?
at 35 Nassau Drive. I think I don't know where I unearthed it. I think I was using the excavator at the time, and and it was tucked below in the living room something, and it was right next to the treasures of Tutankhamun. Anyway, so I uncovered this stuff, and
Oh, listen, we still have the rolls, you know. When we die, you can take those piano rolls for your grandfather's.
oh yeah, for
And where are they now?
I think
in the
in the TV room. I
Oh,
think.
okay.
Yeah. You know,
we should digitize it.
You should do. No, I mean.
That's for a piano player? No. When you say the
but
rolls,
I mean, just to make
What's
a.
those things? Like,
what are you talking about?
I don't know, Mommy.
The
The
rolls
piano
from your
rolls.
father.
You know,
The
your
music
father's.
rolls.
Listen, you'll have the those gloves. You know, the outdoor gloves he has. It's on the shelf.
You know what she's talking about? My father made a pair like motorcycle gloves that have, gauntlets, like work gloves that go over the cuff with little flares. And Johnny once brought them to school.
Yeah, like show and tell. They're like.
What grade did he get?
I don't know.
Oh.
But for the other grandparents, like his grandmother, his father's mother, she wrote a book or something like that. So that was that. And this was the great grandfather's gloves.
Good, it's good use for that.
It's on the shelf
Okay, noted.
in the linen
You
closet.
go first.
Yeah,
I'm working on the drawers in the,
yeah,
in the office.
Oh, someplace in that,
I better record this because I may not remember. Yeah.
in a computer room, in the, my guess is in that wooden place where you found the camera, there should be a homemade knife I made with a homemade sheath.
Okay.
So
I don't want to get overwhelmed today, so I need to like,
Save something for next
yeah,
time.
because
With the treasures, oh
yeah,
God.
because I
Oh,
don't want to
with the garbage.
spoil myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, did you transfer from Brooklyn College
To City.
City after 2 years, or like
After 2 years, yeah. I lost a semester.
you seem that still seems to bother you?
Yeah. Well, I skipped
Would
a
you
class.
like to talk about it?
Sure. I skipped a year in elementary school.
Which year?
I don't know, 4th grade or something like that.
And that's because you were
Smart.
tall? Oh,
Yeah,
smart.
smart.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
not genius. You know, pretty smart.
You don't
Enough
hear
to-
about that now, but at the time it was a normal.
Yeah, somehow or other, I skip. But since my birthday, like yours, is June, you sort of lose time. So when I entered college, it was 17. When you switch schools, you don't get credit for everything. You know, the number of credits for certain things, you know, are different.
So you chose to go to a more business-oriented college because you thought it would be more practical,
Yeah,
even though
it was.
it seemed to skimp on the
Yeah, I didn't
quality of
realize
education.
it. But basically, it was pretty interesting. I mean, I belonged to the boosters and different things. I mean, it was
What
okay.
did the boosters
Okay.
do?
I can't remember. You had the booster for the college or something, but that
raise
was
money.
interesting. But look,
What?
you can. I don't know.
Whatever
It
you
just. I didn't
I
have. There
don't
wasn't
either.
anything I really wanted to do. So which is unfortunate. But I didn't want to be a teacher. That
You
would
don't
be
wanna
the
do the
easiest
teeth
thing to
now?
do.
Okay.
Because you make it,
Okay.
good living and you have a lot of vacation, but I didn't
Okay.
want to do that. But there was nothing that I really wanted to do, so,
And your father had his own business, right?
My father started out as
Your father started out
As
as
a
a
painter.
painter
Right.
a
and
painter.
owned apartment houses.
But
No. First he started out, he was working as a painter. Then you can call it painting and decorating. Then one of his older brothers, Jaime, who is what's her name's grandfather. I'm just what's
what, the dentist?
no.
Oh, you're talking about his children?
No,
I remember
I'm
Jaime.
drawing a blank. Lubavitch.
Hey,
Oh,
Faggy.
Faggy.
Right.
Oh, grandpa.
Her grandfather was an older brother of my father.
Right.
Her grandfather, he had a laundry business.
Mhm.
Then he and his wife Pauline was a beautiful woman, very aggressive and smart. And then they bought real estate.
Mhm.
So they got out of, I think, a laundry business, whatever it was, and they had buildings. So at some point, my father worked in the Second World War, as a painter in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, different things. But
Mhm.
eventually, he saved enough money and also started investing in buildings. So he wasn't doing,
Like buildings
Painting.
in Brooklyn?
no, I don't know if they were in Brooklyn, maybe one was in Westchester someplace. I
Wow,
forget.
that's like
I
far.
forget different places. So obviously, he didn't make a lot of money, but obviously he made enough money that they could move from a house that they had on Brighton First Street, where they rented out rooms. At first, we only had 3 rooms ourselves, and they rented out rooms, and he was able to move to a nice apartment house facing,
Yeah.
The
yeah.
water.
Yeah, I remember.
like.
So, was there ever a discussion between your brother and sister, like, does anyone go into the family business, or
No, there wasn't. It wasn't anything. I don't know. Just who he was partners with or different things, but no.
So he just sold the apartments that he, or
Well,
whatever real estate
they
he
would
had?
buy things, or he would be in business with other people, and they'd buy things, and then they would fix it and whatever, and get income. I don't know the details, but, you know.
And none of their children went into that business.
Right.
Because,
Well,
because their children were,
you mean my Heine's
Heine's
children?
kids.
yeah, Jaime's children,
Well, his old,
Moish and,
Lev.
yeah, late, but he had one son, the oldest son, was named Seymour, like my brother,
Right.
and they're probably named after the same person. And he probably was going to yeshiva, and it was Second World War, and I don't know just what happened, or decided to enlist in the army. And he died. And I think he died around D-Day, I just remember.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the oldest of 4 sons. A handsome guy, you know, really nice. The next son, Bernard, had different eye problems. I mean, different problems. Then there was,
and he died of AIDS.
that's what you think. I don't know what he, you know, but he had, you know, he had.
We once saw him in the hospital.
We
He
went
had-
to see him in the
had
hospital.
these big boils on his
Big
face.
carbuncle. You know, I don't quite know. I don't know.
Okay.
He was never married. I remember once because he was partially blind, he was legally blind. And one time he brought around a young woman that he met at the lighthouse who worked there, and introducing her as his, you know, it's going to be his collar. But that thing fell through. I was just talking about it, you know, to my sister the other day. So that was Bernard. So that was sad. And then it was Moish.
He was a chiropractor. He made Aliyah to Israel.
Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
remember.
You remember Moish?
Yeah, sure.
And that's,
I
you
spent
know.
Passover with them.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they lived in Gilo.
That's right.
I was there for this Passover Seders when I spent the year in Israel.
Sheila still lives in Gilo,
Yeah.
and they met at I think what you call it. You know, when you're at college and they have what do they call
Homeroom.
Mixers.
it? Some kind of mixer. You know, that's how they met. Because she didn't come from a religious background. I forget. She from Ohio or something
Cleveland.
like that. Cleveland.
What are you talking about?
Sheila.
Sheila, yeah.
And then the youngest son, Labe. And Labe, I think, went to Torah Vodaas. Or he went to yeshiva.
Right, then went to
And,
California.
And then he moved out to California. He was a lawyer.
Right.
I mean, he's alive. He's a lawyer. And
So tell me more about your father. Like,
my father says he was in the infantry, in the Austrian army, the infantry in the First World War.
so
I
he's from
cannot
Austria?
imagine my father on a horse.
He's from Austria.
No.
He was
He lived in an area that was
mounted cavalry.
it was Austrian-Hungarian Empire. So maybe they call it Poland. Different areas.
Yeah.
It's Galicia, someplace Galicia. You know, I'm a Glitz, and the territory was taken over by different countries.
Right.
So it flipped.
Right.
So that's why he was in the Austrian army,
Got it.
and he suffered. I don't know, things with his feet from being in the army. So afterwards, he always wore white socks. Somehow or other, the dye he felt from the other socks would not be good. I just could not imagine my father on a horse,
Yeah.
because when he and my mother would take dance classes, my mother was pretty good, and he would go, it's 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean, like, But in any event,
And how old was he when he died?
70. He was born, yesterday was his birthday. Sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry.
Well, I mean, that is your side, but he was born March 6th, 1899.
Mm.
And he died, it was the 4th of Iyar, but it's like a day before or after our anniversary.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So,
so you were in Chicago then, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
He died the 4th of Iyar.
Because we have pictures of him in Chicago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have a picture
Well,
with
he
him.
had-
It's like I'm on
Wait,
He
him.
had
wait,
lung cancer,
He had,
and he had radiation.
yeah, no, but he
uh,
had
burned a
a
hole in
very,
his chest.
prominent, like,
Yeah.
stomach, you know,
Yeah,
like a
that's what
pregnant
I
woman.
remember.
No, he had a cobalt or something. He was,
Cobalt? What's cobalt?
well, you know, treatment.
It was before the linear accelerator came out of discoveries from World War II using the Klystron tube.
Yeah,
And before the linear accelerator to deliver radiation, they had these sources of cobalt. But the range of the radiation was very limited. So the skin dose would get to be very high in order to treat a deep-seated tumor. And that's why patients got these burns. Nowadays, you don't see that.
Yeah.
Because the technology is significantly
Yeah, well, look,
better.
my father, he smoked. He smoked so much,
Cigarettes or cigars?
cigarettes.
Cigarettes.
He smoked so much that we would have like a little lamp or a little table. You know, you send them the coupons or whatever from the cigarette things, and you get the. So
you get all the premiums.
You got the furniture from
yeah,
the,
I mean, he had hay fever. I mean, so I guess I don't know if I don't think he had asthma, but you know, he had hay fever, and he smoked.
Mhm.
So when they talk about people suing because of getting cancer, I mean, you know, you're not going to feel well if you're smoking. I mean, I don't believe in these suits because.
I wonder if he started in the army.
I don't know. I think he was nervous. I mean, people develop a habit. When you went to see the movies, if you see any old movie, one of the props is a cigarette.
Right.
They're always smoking.
Right.
That's the thing. Like otherwise you'd see them people drinking, you know, as if you're drinking all the time and you smoke. But he was a chain smoker. My mother never smoked. I didn't. I tried it once, you know. I didn't. My brother
She
didn't.
didn't inhale it.
You know, and my sister did. We're not smokers. Ugh, I couldn't stand it. I
Yeah.
hated to go any place because the smoke bothered me. I
But
would
he
never,
must have smoked at home when you were growing
yeah,
up.
yeah. I always smoke. I mean, yeah. But no. So no. I remember him saying. I mean, I wasn't around that much because we lived in Chicago, and that if he had that choice, he would never have taken the, having cobalt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's why his grandson went into radiation oncology. Clearly.
I don't know. Look, I mean, it's so funny because I can. It's easy to remember how many years my father is dead because he was born March 6, 1899, and he lived in an area where it was registered, whereas my mother, they didn't register it, so I'm not quite sure. I think maybe she was 4 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they made up a date for whenever was her birthday.
Yeah.
She really didn't know.
But, and your father's father, did he come to the United States?
Yeah. He, his name was Shammai. I didn't know that it
Wait.
was Shammai.
Wait, so your father was born in the United States?
No.
No, my father was born in Galicia.
But he came to the United States with his father.
I don't know, people came at different times.
Oh, okay.
Well, where did your
I'm not sure
grandparents,
where they lived. I'm not sure.
so
We're
you
not
didn't
sure.
really, so, so at some point, they're living in the States, your parents obviously are in the States, you're in the States, but you really don't visit your grandparents.
My grandfather didn't live. My father's father didn't live that far from where once we lived in sort of Coney Island. It was maybe it was called Sheepshead Bay Road, you know, but it was sort of Coney Islandish. I don't really remember him. I don't remember. I mean, maybe something vague, and I don't remember my father's mother. My sister is named after my father's mother. Hava.
I mean, your grandfather also, was it Joseph Dicker? He was in the States.
Yeah, but he was kind of out of the family. So my father, I remember once he took me to visit him. We have a picture of me, my father, and his father, someplace on a wall. I don't know, someplace. And but nobody knows anything about him. Has no family history. Didn't live with any of his children. Usually, old age parent ended up with a child. Like his wife ended up being housed by Franks, you know.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And my mother's mother, we ended up on Miller Avenue with her,
Right.
and she died in the house. But my father's father, we don't know anything about.
But he must have died before, like he died first, and then his wife came to.
I don't know. And my mother's father died in Europe. In fact, Aaron Rayback in the late 30s went to Bessarabia, took a picture of his
Grave?
gravestone.
Oh, do you have it? Do you have the picture?
Someplace I saw there's a picture.
Hmm.
Who knows who has it, but
Yeah. But they're both buried. Joseph, and what's the woman's name? Anna or something?
I can't hear one.
But Joseph, and is it Anna Dicker?
Joseph.
What's your father's mother's name?
Yeah, Anna.
Yeah, Anna. So they're both buried right near Ruth and Sid, right? They're
I don't know.
Yeah.
They are.
no, because we
The
visited.
same burial,
Don't
the
you
same
remember?
cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I have photos of the gravestones.
Well, he wasn't able to get.
I don't think
close.
No, but
He
I
didn't
showed
get
it
out.
to you.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Whereas my father's father, I thought his name was Samuel, but it wasn't. It was Shammai. Now my cousin Sammy, that's your father's, my father's brother Arthur. His son's name was Sammy. He named him after Shammai. But I don't think my father thought too much of his father because I think his father, I remember him saying that his father, he was there, he went back and forth to America. And so I guess one of the times when he was there, you know, it resulted with him being born. Then he goes to America, and then he comes back. And my father said something like he wanted to kiss his ring or something, you know, and his father pushed him away. And so then my father's younger brother was born, you know. So I guess the mother was there and came back, you know. I don't know the years when they went back and forth.
But you don't think he had two families?
No. Oh, it was his second wife. My father's father had two wives.
Right.
My father was a child of the second wife. Her
Okay.
name was Chava. My father had very good memories.
Is that who you're named after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my father had very good memories of his grandparents, his mother, and his grandparents. So my sister is named after his mother.
Uh-huh.
and, then his grandparents. But, so he, I don't know how much he thought
Can
of
you
his
get by?
father.
All right, I believe you.
Um,
Yeah, wait, let's see if I can get a.
Joy, I believe.
yeah,
No,
we
I
have,
know you believe me.
yeah, we have to look
But I
through some
mean,
of those pictures.
This is, whoops,
I have to label some of the
Yeah.
we have
this is
have
Joseph
pictures in
Dicker.
Yeah,
in the,
This is Anna Dicker.
right,
This is Samuel Dicker.
right.
And this is Minnie Dicker.
Oh my God. Beautiful.
So you say that, he wasn't close to his father, I guess.
But
Well, his
right
father
now in the
wasn't close to the
cemetery, they're quite
family.
close.
They're close.
Okay, they're closed
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. And I remember looking at the dates, and he was 81 years old when he died.
oh, that's pretty good.
And he died in 1943.
Yeah.
That is old age, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
That is
And
way
somebody's
beyond-
81. Yeah.
And when did his wife
81
die?
is a fairly good
So
age
he
now.
died in 43. She died in 45.
Wow.
And she was 71. Still quite
That-
old.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta
Alright.
think, you gotta remember that I think when people survived and came to
Your
this
father
country,
was 75.
they might have been
Yeah.
pretty strong
Right.
And my
because
mother,
a lot of
Do
people
you remember what
died
your mother was?
early. I think my
77.
mother had two
Oh,
brothers
okay.
that died
Yeah.
younger. So sometimes
hey, you're great for having
it's
us.
strong people
It's
survive.
because when Ruthie died,
Yeah.
well, but I think even when Sid died, we walked around because I think, my guess is Jeffrey told us
oh.
Yeah.
that Minnie and Sam are here, and then we started looking, and so I have a whole bunch of photos.
Also, with the phone, you can kind of keep the GPS coordinates of the location of the plots because, as you know, sometimes finding places within the cemetery.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
It's
we
challenging.
have to go.
You see, here's Joseph,
Oh,
Anna, Sam, and Minnie. I have a whole bunch of photos.
yeah, good.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's interesting because on the tombstone, I don't know if they always do this, but they said
They,
how old they
plan for the
were.
history of
Well,
today.
sometimes they mention. Oh, you mean the actual
Okay.
age, or when they died? So
The actual age. So
Oh.
it says age, 81 years.
But we don't know how
well,
my
I think with
father
my
grew
mother,
up.
I think I
We
meant
never
mistake on
interviewed
the
my
age.
father.
Right.
You know.
That's
Oh.
too bad.
I don't have your mother's stuff.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go.
My father told me
we'll
one
go.
story
Joy.
from
Someday
Europe
we'll go to.
where
I'll
he
let you
had a
drive.
neighbor
Whenever you want to
who
go.
had a
Yeah,
dog
that's David.
who was very vicious.
I mean,
It
we
does-
can go.
And they had
It'll
to get
take
rid
a
of the
half hour to
dog.
get there.
The neighbors wanted to
20
get rid of
minutes
the
to
other
half hour.
neighbor's dog.
Tell
Uh-huh.
me when you want to
So
go.
they
'cause
mixed
it's
some
an
dog
easy-
food
Yeah,
with some
It's an
broken
easy trip
glass.
and
yeah.
it's
We'll
outside.
wait till it gets.
Dog died a natural death.
All
No.
right.
What temperature are you aiming for, Mom? Like, you want it to be at least 60 or what?
No, it doesn't matter. It's not
Alright.
like you're going looking at statues.
No, I'd like to see it because I think when you get the photos, you get a
Okay,
lot of
that's
information. You get their name,
Yeah, but
you get
as
their
I said,
birthday.
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
the-
but I thought it was interesting.
so much
with,
information.
with Shammai. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know that was the name.
Right.
But I forgot what I was
And it
gonna
also
say.
shows their parents' name because it'll say Ben so and so.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
So there's just a ton of information on tombstones.
I didn't
it's just-
realize
it's-
it.
it's
I
a
didn't
wealth
realize
of-
it at the time, but obviously, being a Levi was important to my father because you have the washing cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have to. You didn't have to be redeemed, Adam, because I'm a Levi. But I never.
Ugh.
I mean, I wasn't taught anything, So all this stuff I'm absorbing now and realizing, sure, if you're putting on your tombstone, or you indicated for my mother to do it, that being a Levi was important. So it's.
So I remember when Benny was born, Eitan Halpern said to me, "So think he's gonna need a pidyon ben. So I
Gonna be a what?
A
he needs
pigeon haben.
a pidyon ben.
Oh.
So I call up Michal and I go, I think there's gonna be a pidyon ben, and Michal's going like, they still do that? like you know, like planning the bris was, you know, enough of a
Oh,
of an
she
event,
didn't
and now we gotta
realize it?
plan something 30 days later.
You mean she didn't realize that?
I wasn't really on her. I don't think she planned this out. She must have known that she was gonna have a boy. I suspect, or maybe not. I don't know, but it wasn't automatic in her thinking like, oh, bris, and then, you know, 21
Another
days
one.
later we'll have a pidyon ben or something.
Yeah, well, I was oblivious to all this stuff.
Well, she had more of a Jewish education
Yeah, I had
than
none.
you did. So
I mean, you know,
anyway, but I'm glad Eitan Halpern kind of said to me, I think there's a pidyon ben. So.
yeah. No, it you know, like all of a sudden I'm realizing certain things.
Your father was a Freemason also.
Yeah, isn't that absurd?
I
It
don't
was-
know. It depends.
Well,
If you there's a Nicolas Cage movie about, you know, the Declaration of Independence and the Freemasons. So I don't know.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a society,
It's a society.
secret society, and if you're not a Freemason, I can't really talk to you about it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember at the there's the Outsiders Art at the Museum of Art and Design. No, not Museum of Art and Design. The American, you know, Folk Art Museum in the '60s, and they had that with the Masons, and they had this different pictures and stuff like that. But I remember when my father died.
The
Whoever
guys with they came around with little aprons.
Well, whoever volunteered, it was like, you know, some schnook. It was ludicrous. It just, but I guess he thought it was a big deal. I have no idea. It just was, if you had a comedy routine and you get the most inept person to deliver a sermon or to deliver a eulogy, that was it. It was,
Your mother was underwhelmed.
ugh.
All right, we'll try not to repeat that mistake.
Okay.
Also, I don't know any Freemasons. So.
I don't know. I have no idea. But, you know, when you're young, you don't pay it. Your parents tell you stories and you don't pay too much attention and, you know,
Well,
don't
now that
real-
we're old, we pay attention.
Well, no, I mean, then you're sorry because you don't have, you know, that much of a background to give you information. I don't know. I just remember that either my mother said this about, she was surprised, I don't know when my mother got to this country, but that she went from her home, I don't know whether she lived in Germany and then she got to the United States, that, you know, like she's so young. I mean, she had a cousin that lived in Israel and they would correspond back and forth.
I think I met that woman. Didn't I meet her when I was
Yes,
in
but
yeshiva?
she was the second wife, I think, of Yankel.
Who was the uncle?
Yankel was her husband, my mother's first cousin, who I think maybe was very successful as a businessman, very smart guy. His name was either Lesser or Leiser, probably Leiser, Leiser. Somehow it became Lesser, L-E-S, my mother's maiden name, Lesser. But But I met, in 1956, when I went to Israel, I met Yankel Leiser and his wife.
Was he related to the Chassid in Belgium or something? Maybe your mother had a Chassid in Belgium.
Right. I mean, he might. I'm just trying to remember now, because it was on my mother's side that you had the connection with somebody was the sister of the
Satmar Rebbe.
Satmar Rebbe. That's on my mother's side, and so the name is, as I said, Leiser.
And then there was this Chassid in Belgium that once came to the United States. We went to the wedding. It was outside Flatbush Avenue.
That's a Satmar's. Yeah, I think it's Satmar.
Yeah, it's interesting. I went to pre-COVID, I don't know, 2-ish years ago. I went to Brussels and I flew, I think I flew United from Newark, and I flew business one way, I flew kind of economy and then way back. And in business, there must have been 20 Hasidim on that flight. And they were clearly regulars because all the flight attendants knew them and their wives. And they probably all lived in
Antwerp.
Antwerp.
Yeah, the
But
diamond merchants
flew,
or something.
yeah, so they flew, you fly into Brussels and you take a cab, to Antwerp. So it was amazing. It was an interesting sight.
Well, with this cousin, and that when we lived
Yankel.
when we lived in no, it wasn't Yonkers. When we lived in
Crown Heights.
Crown Heights, and we went to this wedding that was outside.
Yeah, it was a street off Flatbush Avenue.
I mean,
I
you know,
remember
it was, you
the
know,
building.
whoever saw anything like that, you know, like. But that's on my mother's side, the family.
Let me just pause